Welcome back to another week of political, economic and social conversations. We do this at Rware Central Hotel in Nyeri, where we do some really good tea, some really good mandazi, some really good chapo, some really good nyama. So when you're in Nyeri, tafadhali, just pass by and share a meal with us. Today I want to talk about something that happened earlier, or is it earlier last week. And it has everything to do with my party, Jubilee. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta was in the streets, somewhere in Kileleshwa, I think, basically in a confrontation with some Jubilee members of parliament who were threatening to evict the Secretary General of the Jubilee Party from office. Police were involved. There was skirmishes, people were running around, there was tear gas, there were stones. I watched that clip. Actually, the first time I saw the picture of Uhuru and a crowd of young people, some guys who have been sitting in Azimio forums, I thought it was a Photoshop. I honestly did not believe that Uhuru Kenyatta would be in that particular kind of situation. Then I saw the video. And I saw him in a confrontation, just basically talking to the police officers, being carpeted by one of the neighbors in the neighborhood where the Jubilee office moved to. And many people have said many things. Personally, I felt sad. I felt sad that we have reached a place as a party where we have to drag the former president, who served for 10 years. And despite how that particular term ended, served for 10 years successfully. We had a country that grew, we had a country that was prosperous and peaceful and united. And after he's retired, we are calling him back to the streets to fight for a political party that ideally should have moved forward after the last election, but somehow seems stuck in the last election. First, let's be clear, Uhuru Kenyatta was not a participant in the last election. He was a retiring president. And he retired, he handed over power peacefully. And despite the fact that the person who took over after him wasn't his preferred candidate, he handed over power to him and he literally walked away into his retirement. How are we bringing him back to a fight, not on national issues, but on party issues? And this is the part I have to say we should be very embarrassed with ourselves, all of us in Jubilee Party, and especially the two factions that are fighting against each other. Having to drag Uhuru to the streets was really, really a major embarrassment for us as a nation, but more so for us as a party. Let us remember Uhuru has led Jubilee Party into 2 successful elections. The first election, it was a coalition. Second election, it was a party. He led, he won, he actually achieved the epitome of his political career, of any politician's career, to be president of a country, of a democratic country, in a democratic space. He was elected as president twice. He served his full term of 10 years, and we did some impressive work. Whatever it is the naysayers might say, history will judge Uhuru very, very favorably. He did a good job. The development on the Big Four agenda and everything else that he did it and he did it well. Of course, we also have to admit that, they say generals are only as good as their last war. Our last election, we were massacred as Jubilee. We were literally blown out of space. From a majority party, we are now down to the 3rd largest party with actually, double-digit numbers. And even the double-digit numbers we have are the ones that are actually fighting against Uhuru Kenyatta, the party leader. So there is a problem. But I have to bite the bullet. And the first thing I need to say is that Uhuru Kenyatta needs to retire from party politics. Stepping out, I can imagine how upsetting it is to see a party you have invested 10, 12, 15 years of your life going the way Jubilee Party is going. But imagine now, he really, really must let go of the Jubilee Party. He needs to completely step aside and enjoy his retirement. Jubilee Party is a public institution. It gets funds from the exchequer. It collects money from membership. People like myself, over the last 5 years, have given Jubilee Party over £1 million in monthly contributions and nomination fees. And I'm not the only one. Literally thousands of us have invested in that party. In addition to that, I'm sure it gets funding even from non-governmental organizations who support its programs. Jubilee Party is not the private property of anyone. It is not the private property of Uhuru Kenyatta, of Kioni, of Kanini, of Gonjiri. It doesn't belong to any of us. Jubilee Party is a party that belongs to the Kenyan public. Of course, it is made up of membership, and you have to pay a membership fee to be a member, or you have to fill in forms to be a member of Jubilee Party. But it is a public institution that is guided by how other public institutions are guided. And that is the first thing we need to remember as we engage in the fight for the soul of this party. And when I say Uhuru needs to step away from the party, it's because first and foremost, he has led this party. His vision got us to where this party got. Every success of Jubilee is Uhuru's success. The 10 years that he has done are beautiful, and they need to stay like that. Anything he does after that actually takes away from the legacy he has built of that party. Uhuru needs to trust those of us who are left in the party that we will do the right thing by the party. And by the way, even if we do the wrong thing by the party, we are a democracy. The membership of the party is going to decide whether this party is going to live or it is going to die. Not Kioni, not Kanini, and not Uhuru Kenyatta. General membership. Those people who have sacrificed for this party, those who have paid political price for this party, are stakeholders of this party. And we are the ones who are very upset when we see people dragging this party through the mud, see them dragging our party leader through the mud, and we are the ones who are also saying our party leader needs to stand aside. We cannot get into this kind of, we can't be fighting with Uhuru. If Uhuru does something today, and I don't agree with him, he's forcing me to do this, to actually come and say, no, you can't do that, boss, in public. To the former head of state, that's not right. I personally strongly believe he does need to step aside. He needs to allow a new leadership to step into this party, a leadership that is thinking about the future. Because remember, Uhuru doesn't have a political future. His political career, his best political days are behind him. He can never do better than he has done so far. He can never be president again. And even in the first world countries, once you serve as a president and you retire, you continue being a member and supporter of your party, but you can't lead it. Because you really do not have a vision for the future of that party, because your vision has been achieved and overtaken by time. Today we need a new leadership in that party. A party that is going to think about the dynamics of today. A party that is going to analyze our relationship with our brothers in Azimio right now. Why they are kicking out people like Sabina, because Sabina has refused to do what Azimio wants. Doesn't Jubilee have a right to have an independent position? We need to have a leadership that is going to ask itself what happened in Senate. A leadership that is going to ask, what is our role in this particular parliament? What is our role in this government? What is our role in this particular political dispensation? A leadership that is going to ask itself, where are we going in 2027? How are we going to position ourselves? In 2002, Uhuru Kenyatta was the leader of KANU. And he made a strategic decision. He left the opposition and joined government. Everybody called him names. But he left the opposition at that time, and he joined Kibaki as government. I think it is important, and that's why I'm saying why we need a new leadership is because right now Uhuru thinks it is the wrong thing to do for anybody suggesting that Jubilee can work with government. But he has done it in the past. And I'm not saying we need to do it as Jubilee. What I'm saying is that we need to have this conversation without emotion, without grudges, without baggage. We need to ask ourselves, should we stay in Azimio and demand for our respect in Azimio? Or should we join government and create a collaboration of some kind as we prepare for the next election? Or should we play independent and position ourselves such that whoever is going to run strongly in 2027 has to talk to us? We need to have that conversation as Jubilee if we are going to survive. Alternatively, we agree to die. But that decision needs to be made by us as members of Jubilee. And that decision needs to be made outside Uhuru Kenyatta. Because, yes, I said we have had some amazing victories under Uhuru Kenyatta, but we've also had our worst defeat under Uhuru Kenyatta. And even in football, once a team is defeated very badly in a league, it has to change its leadership and get a leadership that is going to pick up the pieces, put it together again, and move it forward. When you're at a war, and as a general, your army loses badly, you cannot go back to lead another war, another army. Somebody else has to step in and do the job. And that is my cry, that is my plea to a man I respect. I was one of Uhuru Kenyatta's primary generals in the last term. I lost my seat primarily because of that. And I'm okay. I'll collect myself up. I still have a future political career, I'm sure. God, guy better. But I don't think where I need to go as an individual politician is the kind of way I don't think we are aligned with who is thinking we need to go as Jubilee Party. And I'm sure that I represent a lot of people. Because really, Uhuru has done his part. He cannot lead us again. The leadership now needs to be done by somebody else. And this is my plea. And I hope that that Uhuru hears me and that he understands what I'm saying. That this is not out of disrespect. This is actually out of respect. We need to honor him as our party leader, emeritus, but Jubilee Party, right now. Because there's a lot of internal consultation that needs to happen about where we need to go as a party. This consultation cannot happen under the leadership of Uhuru Kenyatta. He can advise. Kenny can advise. Kenny was a SG when we lost the way we lost. So I'm sure even his position is going to be challenged because he was SG when we got massacred. So it's difficult when they keep looking like they're clinging to a party that they led to a defeat the way we were defeated. I think they need to seriously think through this and allow us to have a conversation. I have never taken sides in this fight. I still do not intend to. I wish there's a way we can sit together. In fact, my last video, I asked Kioni and Kanini to sit down, and this was overtaken by events when they went to the streets. I still demand that the leadership of this party needs to come together and sit. I have seen an announcement for an NDC on 22nd of May. First, I completely disagree with a call for that NDC. 22nd of May is too close. We have got too much hurt, too much anger. We cannot go to an NDC like this. What will happen in that NDC if it goes on? People will come with guns. People will come to beat up each other. People will come to stop each other from speaking. What we are going to have is an NDC, like the kind of NDCs some of our friends in Azimio have. And that is not how Jubilee does its work. I want to suggest very strongly that we start with grassroots-based consultation forums for the party, at least in every county. Let us go to this county and listen to what people have to say about why Jubilee is where it is right now. Let's build up this conversation. I mean, let's borrow. Sometimes you borrow ideas even from your opponents. Let's borrow the bottom-up approach politically. Let's go speak to people at the bottom. Let's go from the constituency or even from the wards, constituencies, counties, and then have a national delegate conference. That way, the conversation that is going to happen at the national level is going to be driven by the conversations happening at the bottom. Right now, what we wanted to do is a top-down approach, and that is how we lost. The top is what let us down. The top needs to listen to other voices before we have a conversation at national level. So I hope and I pray very strongly that somebody is going to change their mind about this NDC for the 22nd of May. Postpone it. We have time. We're not in government. We're not running a government. I don't know. We have no rush. What are we rushing into? Let's give ourselves a year or two. Let us organize ourselves from the grassroots up, and we will have a party that can actually be a stakeholder in the next government, that can partner and be in a coalition, a strong and working and successful coalition as we go into 2027. The way we are going right now, we are going to kill this party. And it will be very sad considering the amount of work that was done under Uhuru Kenyatta between 2013 and 2022. Those are my views, personal views, but I hold them very strongly and I believe in them. First, Uhuru Kenyatta needs to stand aside and allow us to fix Jubilee for the current and the future. Second, we need to begin our conversations machinally before we have an NDC. Third, that NDC must be to bind us together and not to fight. Well, that's all I have for today. As I said, please come and visit. Next week, we're going to talk about some other things we're doing, including we have been approached by a few of our friends who want us to help them buy property and sell property, and we're going to be talking about that next week. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless Kenya.